Maurice Chatelain, the former NASA space scientist who helped man reach the moon and author of Our Ancestors Came from Outer Space, definitely believes that aliens have visited the Earth.
It seems that the first landing occurred about 300,000 years ago.
Chatelain believes that ancient cuneiform tablets discovered in Iraq and only recently deciphered give detailed accounts of aliens arriving on Earth and engaging in crossbreeding experiments with humans.
And in the beginning, the experiments were not very successful. They obtained the Neanderthal man, which was a very big man, but not very intelligent. And they had to make many experiments before they could succeed. And this occurred about 60,000 years ago. At that time, they obtained the Homo sapiens man, or modern man, which you can also call the Cro-Magnon man. And this was a very bright success, and because it was almost exactly like modern man today. Some people ask me how it could be that a scientist like me, who has been trained in physics and mathematics and who is working on the Apollo program to go on the moon, could believe in stories of astronauts coming from outer space and landing on the Earth. Actually, it's very simple, because in the beginning I was very skeptical. But little by little, I started discovering my own evidence, and I was convinced, there's no doubt about it, astronauts from outer space have landed on the Earth.
One of Chatelain's discoveries was made while examining satellite photos of the Aegean Sea. At first, there didn't seem to be anything significant. But then, Chatelain began to see a pattern emerge. By connecting the locations of 12 sacred Greek temples, Chatelain formed a giant Maltese cross more than 300 miles wide. Chatelain says the Greeks didn't know of the cross, and its perfectly formed dimensions could have only been laid out with the use of an orbiting satellite, like the one used to photograph the area you are now looking at. Throughout history, civilization builds on top of civilization. This we know. Once a site is sacred, it remains sacred for succeeding generations. Did the ancients build on these sites because Earth visitors had selected them?
I think the cross was left there as a hint to show a modern man that there are powers beyond his own.
To find out, we presented the mystery to Dr. Lawrence Clevenson, a statistical mathematician with California State University, Northridge.
What I've done is to program this computer to randomly place 12 points on the screen. In a sense, then, the screen represents that area of the Aegean Sea where the 12 temples are, and each point that the computer randomly chooses represents a random choice of a temple. Then I also asked the computer to count the number of symmetric patterns, like the cross, and the odds against getting a symmetric pattern are approximately 3 quadrillion to 1. So that if the computer produced a pattern, a randomly chosen pattern, every single second, it would take approximately 95 million years for it to produce a symmetric pattern.
Another discovery of Chatelain's is tied to the enigmatic Egyptian pyramids. Why were they laid out astronomically, so that passageways are aligned with certain stars? Could the pyramids, like the Maltese cross, have some connection to Earth visitors? This satellite photo of France reveals another pyramid. It's not yet visible, but when you connect the locations of 3 prehistoric stone temples, like the one at Stonehenge, it magically appears. A giant triangle hundreds of miles across that is proportional to the Pyramid of Cheops in Egypt. Another unexplained phenomenon of the French Triangle. When you superimpose the locations of known modern uranium mines, they align themselves along the sides. Could Earth visitors have had the same need for the precious metal, uranium, as we have today? Could France have been the site of an extraterrestrial mining operation?
I think there might be another use for the French triangle, because its sides, the sides of the triangle could have been used as beacons for landing of the spacecraft, like re-entry corridors, similar to those we were using in the Apollo program, you know. It was called a footprint, too. It was the area on the surface of the Earth where the spacecraft could land. There's another interesting point about the triangle. It is that if you follow one of the lines, it leads you halfway across the world to the Nazca Plain.
In search of teams have explored the Nazca Plain in Peru and have yet to fully understand these drawings and patterns. Certainly, this does not appear to be a landing base. Many believe Earth Base 1 was in the Western Hemisphere. Not here, but in the southwestern United States.